What's good, y'all? It's your boy Jay, and today we gotta talk about how Maki slaughtered her entire clan. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And to start this thing off, we got both Maki and her sister Mai getting dragged by this old ass nigga, and they get thrown into a dungeon. And I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was GG's. They was both bladed and beat that hell up. However, that's when Mai decides it's about that time. And long story short, basically Mai gave up her soul to Maki. And the reason she did this was because in the world of JJK, if two characters are born as twins and they remain that way, they are both destined to be sorry. However, if one of the twins decides to join the other and in essence give up their soul, that twin will be strong as hell. And that's exactly what happened to Maki. After the ritual was done, she locked in immediately. And this old ass nigga was standing on guard outside the dungeon. He thought shit was sweet. And before he even knew it, this man got his head cut clean off. Gave that nigga a whole fade. And that's when Maki decided it's time to slaughter the entire clan. And I ain't gonna lie, this entire thing was giving me Kill Bill vibes. The way she was just stunting on these niggas had to be studied. She dead ass butchered every nigga in that room. Started off by cutting 4 dudes off the rip like a Beyblade. Cut this nigga's eyes out, sliced to 2 niggas coming towards her, and dead ass cut both of this dude's arms off. And after murdering some other fodder, this one guy decided it's time for him to step up, and I don't know who he's feeling like with this staff. Nigga immediately got dealt with. And right after she's done with her massacre, one of the high ranking Zenins walks in and is dumbfounded. Bro is completely confused, and I ain't gonna lie, that's a reasonable reaction. Imagine you get called because a threat has entered the building, and you go to the place to where the threat is supposed to be, and then you find the whole Zenin bodyguard unit dead. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if I saw this much red, I'd be stressing too. But back to the hands. This one dude decided to use his special technique and lifted Maki all the way up into the sky, trying to seal her ass in. But like we all predicted, that shit don't work. So Unk has no choice but to start throwing them hands. He starts off by having an initial clash with Maki, and I ain't gonna lie, Unk was kind of doing his thing for real. They was low-key going back and forth until Maki decides fuck swords and grabs this nigga by the neck and then takes his whole throat out, and for good measure uses a piece of his blade to stab him in the back. And oh boy really thought he was gonna weave this attack, but Maki said, nah, you ain't safe either, and rips that nigga shit off too. And this is one of the other members decides to use his secret technique. I don't even know what to call this shit. I'm gonna just call it Evil Eyes. He starts using his technique, but Maki dead ass starts walking through that shit like it's nothing. And you know it's bad because this nigga is stressing his body out so much to where he starts bleeding out his eyes and his nose. Like, dog, you are not Itachi. And then old nigga with the long hair, I'm just call his ass Veto, he charged up his move and releases a fury of punches. I don't even want to know who he's feeling like. However, unfortunately for these two niggas, Maki was still alive. And bro, this is disrespectful as hell. She walks out the smoke carrying Veto's head and just throwing his ass into the water. And this is when we see Nayuta, and like usual, he's talking shit. We get a little flashback of him and his backstory and how this nigga saw Toji once and decided to turn into his lifelong blazer, but we ain't got time for all that. We got to get back to the hands. Him and Maki start going blow for blow, and props to Nayuta, he actually managed to get a hit in on Maki. But unfortunately for old boy, Maki gets up like nothing happened. And after a bit more scrapping, Maki's finally like, I understand it now. And then sets up for the nastiest left hook I'd have ever seen. Look at Nayuta's face, he knows it's over.
Damn, he really about to rock my shit.
Punch bro so hard they replayed 3 different times at 3 different angles. Deadass broke this man's face like it was a Mortal Kombat fatality. But yeah, in summary, that's Maki versus Zenin clan. With that being said, sub up to the channel, we moving.